hot yoga problems. I got them. Oh. Definitely got those hot yoga problems today. My ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, Raff's Brain listeners, hot yoga practitioners across the land, my tens of loyal listeners. Oh, what a day, what a day. What a glorious day. Yikes. What's the smallest number of students necessary to have a legitimate hot yoga class? That's the question of the day. Because today we were pushing boundaries. We were pushing boundaries. We were breaking barriers. In so many ways. It's one of those days, man. It's a Monday before a holiday. So you know, as dedicated as the hot yoga practitioners are in this DMV area, there's just a lot of people, I think, that are off. They're out of pocket. It's like, yo, if Tuesday's a holiday, I might as well just throw Monday in there and make it a 2-for-1 special. So there's a lot of people that are probably on little vacations, little trips, little get out of town. I respect it. I'm all about it typically, but it just didn't happen for me this time. So that's the first factor. I'll say, let's back up. Let's back up. Let's back up. The first factor is the early morning class, 6 a.m. Monday. This is already, relative to many other studios and classes you will be in ever in your life, among the lightliest attended. Is that a word? Lightliest? Lightest, dummy. The lowest attendance is what I'm saying. It's already going to be a little thin because there's just, early birds get the worm. There's a reason for that. Most birds aren't early, dude. Most yogis don't get up early. I don't know. Is that true? I feel like the yogi as a class of people probably do rise and shine a little bit more. I don't know. But as it relates to attendance in class, it's not many people in there to begin with. Usually on a good day, let's say the heaviest it's ever been on a Monday, it might be like 10 to 12. Typically, I'm talking more like 5 to 7. Today, how many do you think was in there today, folks? Well, I was the first one, as usual. I arrive ahead of schedule so I can, it's not so much to claim the spot anymore. On the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, it's more just about, it's about routine. It's about settling into the week or the day, getting there. I just don't like to be harried. I don't like to be harried in my yoga. I like to get there with a little bit of time to aggregate my emotions and situation and like put it all together, recombobulate before I get shredded. So anyway, I got there. How many people do you think were in class? Well, it was me for a long time. It was just me laying in class. I usually get there 10 to 15 minutes early. And typically people start kind of, trickling in, one or two at a time. But literally no one was coming into this class. No one. Now, simultaneous to this class, there is a boot camp style class. I can't remember the name of it, but it's very painful. Yoga sculpt is what it's called. And I don't want to do a yoga sculpt. I've done them before. They are painful. They're excruciating. They're difficult. There's a lot of cardio in between, some stretching. And I don't know, man. It doesn't work for me. I do it every once in a blue moon just to like mix it up and remind myself that I'm a deficient loser, but I didn't want to feel like that today. I want to be a little bit more, on top of my game. So, but I was basically gonna, when the instructor came in, I was gonna say, in my mind, I was playing this scenario. I said, hey, there's no way I'm gonna make you give me a private lesson. That would be strange, right? So I'll just hop into the yoga sculpt and we'll just get, annihilated. But actually, probably with a 5 minutes before class was supposed to start, another person came in. Okay, now there's 2 of us. That is probably what the critical mass is for a class. If it's just one person and a yogi, then that's like personal one-on-one instruction. And that's expensive. That's how I got into yoga, by the way. Back in the day, over 10 years ago, when I decided I would go on this epic journey, I went to a few hot yoga classes with a friend, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I was getting annihilated, dude. Like, completely destroyed. And I didn't know all the poses. I was just like a total clown. It was a clown show. I had my own personal clown show. I was juggling backflips. I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It was not a good situation. So I said, before I go back into that environment, I need to get some one-on-one training. And a friend of mine's wife just so happened to be a yogi, certified instructor. So that was pretty cool. She came over once a week it was twice a week. It was an interesting situation, but it was, priced appropriately. I mean, what's an hour of time worth? It's not nothing. So that was that's how I learned all the different poses, and she crushed me, dude. She would like make me hurt. So those one-on-one sessions are different because they can like help manipulate you into the right posture. Like, no, your foot should be a little bit more angled. Oh, that's why it hurts so bad. Yes, so that's what, a typical like one-on-one yoga, what do we call that? Personal trainer situation. That's gonna cost like hundreds of dollars potentially. And there's no way that I should be getting one-on-one training at a studio like when I was going in for a group class. But once a second person enters the classroom, everything changes. It becomes a class, apparently. Now, I was legitimately on the verge. So the instructor comes in, classes start, hey, everybody, welcome to class. I was like, wow, there's just 2 of us. 2 students, 1 yogi, 3's company. And I don't know, man. It worked out. Somehow it worked out. But there's something weird that happens when there's only a small number of people. That is the smallest I've ever had for a class. 2 students, 1 yogi. Probably the next after that would be like 3 students. There was one time when I went and I was the only person that showed up, and I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to make you give me a session. And she was very grateful for that. It would have been very awkward, So I'm glad that, anyway, we proceeded, and it was good. And it was a, what do we call it? A substitute instructor, and she did a great job, and she melted our faces, and it was not unusual in the sense that I always get my body destroyed in these situations. But the funny thing is, when there's so few people in class, here's what happens, and I don't like it. You get a hyper awareness that the instructor and the other student are probably like locked in, and if you got to look good, man, you got to do the poses. You can't buckle. You can't just like take a breath in child's pose. If you do, it's very, very noticeable. So it's one of those things, it's nice having fewer people, it's less crowded, but when there's so few people, it really makes you hyper aware of your deficiencies, and you're like, oh no, I can't hold this pose much longer, please. Everyone's looking at me. And this is all like absurd because no one's looking at you. By the way, I have my glasses off. I can't see jack the whole time. That's a beautiful thing. But we were doing some birds of paradise. Anyway, how would I rate this class on a scale of 1 to 10? Again, it's more like a mediocre 4 to 5. That's in terms of my performance, not the class itself. It's my performance in the class. It was about a 4 to 5 out of 10. Not terrible, below average in a sense, but par for the course in another sense. All right, this is a good short episode. Thanks everybody. We'll be back for more. There's so much exciting content on the horizon from the Raff's Brain podcast. Stay tuned for it. Until next time, namaste, mofos.